Climate change is happening. In 2021, the United States experienced another dangerously hot summer, breaking records last set during the Dust Bowl. The climate crisis is making temperature extremes like heat waves more intense and frequent, and endangering vulnerable populations, including Native American communities. The Mojave tribe, located along the Colorado River, experiences an average of 117 days each year above 100 degrees. Warming is resulting in less snowmelt from the Rocky Mountains to the river, which is a major natural, cultural, and spiritual resource. Climate change is exacerbating temperature threats originally introduced by colonial disruptions like dams and forced relocation. Like many tribes, the Mojave tribe was pushed from their historical lands to smaller reservations with less access to hospitable climates. Mojave's current lands experience 62 more days over 100 degrees than on its historical lands. Tribes in the Southwest are particularly vulnerable to extreme heat, but they are not alone. Tribes in Alaska are subjected to double the rate of warming as the tribes in the lower 48 states. Average temperatures in the United States have increased 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit between 1895 and 2016. This number is expected to increase to 2.8 to 7.3 degrees by 2100. We are seeing seasonal shifts, increasing sea temperatures, and more extremes of both high and low temperatures. According to the Climate Science Special Report, extreme temperatures in the contiguous United States are projected to increase even more than average temperatures. The temperatures of extremely cold days and extremely warm days are both expected to increase. Cold waves are projected to become less intense, while heat waves will become more intense. The number of days below freezing is projected to decline, while the number above 90 degrees Fahrenheit will rise. Temperature extremes can impact tribal health in many ways. Tribes should prepare for greater incidence of heat exhaustion, heat stress, heat stroke, and hyperthermia. Cardiovascular disease and other chronic conditions can worsen under extreme heat. Based on present-day sensitivity to heat, an increase of thousands to tens of thousands of premature heat-related deaths in the summer is projected by the end of the century. Even with a reduction in deaths from extreme cold, more deaths are projected in most regions from temperature changes. Even small temperature increases can lead to more illnesses and deaths. However, communities can increase tolerance to extreme heat over time with increased use of air conditioning, improved social responses, and physiological acclimatization. How a tribal community responds to and helps those most sensitive to extreme heat can reduce illnesses and deaths. There are some less obvious health impacts associated with temperature extremes. For example, mental, behavioral, and cognitive disorders can also be exacerbated by heat waves and by lack of access to outdoor activities that contribute to well-being. Prolonged and extreme heat can also contribute to increased conflict, violence, and aggression within communities. Power outages can limit access to services that protect health, such as air conditioning, telecommunications, and healthcare. Many elders and other tribal community members rely on medical devices like ventilators and dialysis machines that need access to electricity. The use of backup generators can also result in carbon monoxide poisoning. Increasing temperatures also trigger secondary exposures that can impact health, including worsened air quality, vector changes, and water and food insecurity. Extreme heat can result in higher levels of ground-level ozone and airborne allergens, resulting in more respiratory illness. 74,000 emergency room visits for aeroallergens happen annually in the United States, with an approximately 10% increase projected by 2090. Increased temperatures are changing the breeding patterns, abundance, distribution, and timing of vectors like mosquitoes and ticks that spread diseases like Lyme, West Nile, Zika, dengue, and hantavirus. Extreme heat can heighten competition for water resources and threaten tribes' water security. Reduced snowpack can deplete water sources, while higher temperatures and shallower water encourage pathogen growth, making fishing and swimming unsafe. Food security is also at risk due to increasing temperatures. While some areas may see an increase in food production due to warmer temperatures, the USGCRP Climate Change, Global Food Security, and the U.S. Food System Report finds that climate change is very likely to affect global, regional, and local food security by disrupting food availability, decreasing access to food, and making utilization more difficult. Livestock also suffer similar illnesses from heat as humans, as well as stress-related reductions in the production of resources like eggs and milk. Tribal fisheries and fishing practices are also affected. Recent extreme heat has led to reduced salmon populations in the Pacific Northwest. Tribal community members and groups most vulnerable to extreme heat include elders and children, individuals with existing health concerns or illnesses related to air quality, people with mental, behavioral, or cognitive disorders, communities and individuals lacking air conditioning and reliable electricity, outdoor workers, and residents in older homes or homes in disrepair. Tribes and tribal communities across the United States are preparing to address these temperature extremes. The Mescalero Apache tribe of New Mexico is one tribe with a long-term plan. Some of the highest temperatures ever recorded in the region have occurred since 2011. Recognizing this climate change issue, tribal leaders are working with a range of federal, state, and local government agencies, as well as academic experts, to maintain forest health and resiliency. To address food concerns, the tribe has constructed hoop houses and greenhouses to protect produce from climate extremes, and installed solar systems at their fish hatchery. Tribes are also safeguarding food sovereignty through cooperatives, seed banks, and protected gardens. Some other ways tribes can plan now for future temperature extremes include planting trees, monitoring air and water resources, stress testing important facilities, developing an emergency or heat health management plan, and implementing systems to notify the community about high heat events, heat-related illness prevention, and cooling centers. Though stresses related to extreme heat will be exacerbated by climate change, tribes and communities can be prepared and resilient. Planning now can protect individuals and ensure a future for 7 generations. Additional videos in this series explore the health impacts of other climate change exposures, including wildfire and sea level rise.